Hello everyone, my name is Teshin, and today I wanted to talk about this small piece of paper called origami. So I myself have been growing up, I used origami countless number of times, always trying to make something from the internet or following a design from an origami book. And I also did a little research on origami's history and its beginnings, and also the application on the world today. So to truly understand the usage of origami, I want to talk about its history, what it can make with origami, and the many uses in different cultures today. Now, origami in everyone's mind is just a piece of paper that you can make animals with, like something like this. And but what if I tell you it's more than that? It's far bigger than everyone imagined it to be. Now, origami is present in many parts of this world and is also a blueprint for future technology and tools around the world as well. But before we talk about this, first let's begin about the history of origami, its origin. Now, it's derived from the first piece of paper from China. It didn't start in Japan actually, but in Germany. There's a German educator started paper folding as a means for education. From there, teaching kids about basic geometry by folding them into different shapes like hexagons or octagons. And then from there, it went to Japan, gaining the name of origami. Now, ori means to fold, and gami means paper, which becomes folding paper. And the use of origami doesn't just stop in Japan. It spread around Europe, mostly in the early days. A Spanish philosopher was heavily interested in origami, and an English author also wrote a book about origami. And only after World War II, origami's popularity reached the United States. And Americans hosted art exhibits, televised origami, and wrote many books on it. Many were fascinated by the different shapes and forms this paper can take. It was truly fascinating for everyone around the world seeing this sort of new art form. And now that we know the history and its origin of origami, let's talk about what we can do with this paper and what we can make with it. In my childhood, I actually had this book right here. And this book had different instructions on different animals that you can make, but also different vehicles like cars or even a motorcycle. And then you can also make this small little box using origami as well. And when growing up, when I was playing with origami, I used to love making cranes, which is the widely known origami, something like this. And also a frog, and also this balloon right here. This balloon, you're supposed to inflate it at the bottom, right here. You put air into it, and it becomes this shape. Now, origami first started with plain RGB colors, like colors from the rainbow, something like this. But now there are all kinds of different origami styles. There's ones with patterns like this one right here. And then there's ones like this, so kind of like resembles like tinfoil. And origami is a go-to activity for both the elderly and the young. So they made designs for both demographics. For the young people, they made like different origamis with different Japanese cartoon characters on them. And origami in the past and from my own childhood as well stood as like a leisure activity, like a pastime. It wasn't anything serious that really contributed to anything. Now, as years pass, origami stands in art form for many to express themselves, but also it is used in inventing new tools for researchers in space, robotics, but also medicine. And one tool used in medicine is a tiny surgical grabber called forceps. And forceps is used in robotic surgery, in which robotics arms use this little grabber to do surgeries on. And the paper form is definitely not used in actual surgeries, but the overall origami design helped create this little grabber called forceps. And lastly, I wanted to talk about how origami is present in different cultures around the world, but most strongly in Japan. In the beginning of my speech, I mentioned how this German educator used origami or folding papers as a way to teach geometry in different shapes. Origami is really beneficial for education, as it means to teach mathematics, but also to teach and enforce creativity among students. And another way origami is present in Japanese culture is through this crane origami, like I mentioned. The crane in Japan is well known to represent longevity. And after World War II, one Japanese girl was dying in the aftermath of the atomic bomb. She decided to fold 1,000 cranes in hopes that she can survive another day. And her wish has been passed down, which is now known as senbazu, meaning 1,000 cranes. And the folding 1,000 cranes is a challenge for sure, but it is said to grant one wish. So some people have used this to hope for a sick person to get well. So in conclusion, the use of origami started as a way for education, but also something fun and as a pastime. But now it is something greater. It is used as an art form, a catalyst for new inventions, but also a way to hope and wish for something good. Thank you for listening.